What's up, guys? It's your girl Braxton Simpson, and we are back with a live. I'm so excited. Guys, I haven't been on live in like a good little minute, so I'm excited to be back, to be talking to you guys, to be interacting, and just to give y'all a little update, baby, because so much has honestly been happening, and there's been so much change, and there's just been so much going on over the last couple of months, and I just want to take you guys along with me. That's been my biggest goal, one of my biggest goals, and you know, you guys are all a part of my internet family. So for those of you that are new, welcome to my internet family. I'm Braxton Simpson, a recent graduate of Tennessee State University. Now figuring out big girl life. Recently moved. Just for some context, I'm a North Carolinian, if that's how you say it now. And just honestly figuring out what life is after college, right? What life looks like as a 20-something, post-graduation, and really just figuring it out. And guys, it's not all peaches and cream, right? And I think so many people on this live and just everybody anywhere in a period of transition can relate to the fact that life after graduation isn't always what it's cracked up to be, but it can be great, and it will be great, and you have to make it great. But it's just all about how you approach it, right? And so I've been figuring it out. I've literally been figuring it out. And so we're going to get into that today. It was just placed on my heart to just have this conversation. I've been talking with so many of my friends about their transitions. I mean, I have friends that went back to school after graduation, that went back home after graduation, that are maybe in a career that they wanted to be in, or maybe in a career that doesn't necessarily look like what they imagined. Some people have started their careers, some people have moved, and just life is just different for a lot of people, and I don't think it's talked about enough. And having these conversations with a lot of my friends, I wanted to have this conversation with y'all, my internet family, because it's real. It's real. We're gonna get real. We're gonna get raw. I want you guys to drop questions using the question tool at the bottom of your screen for any questions that you may have or want to just talk about or chat about while we're on live today. But you guys, I have my computer because you guys literally dropped like 50 questions. I had to like figure the whole thing out because y'all was coming with it. Okay, I dropped it on my story. So I'm gonna just give y'all a little context about what's been going on, and then we're gonna get started. So, graduated from Tennessee State University on May 1st. Literally the next week, came to North Carolina to find an apartment in a day with my best friend, my godmother and my godmothers, and my mother. And then 2 weeks later, I moved to North Carolina, and on June 1st, I started my career. And there's just been so much going on since then, right? So I moved out here by myself. It was definitely very challenging, but still figuring it out. You know, in the process of like decorating, meeting friends. Of course, I have a couple of friends here that I've been able to kick it with, which has made things a lot more easier. But also, guys, I had some like internal battles too, because one thing that I always saw for myself after leaving college is that I would be right back in school, right? And so that's something that I kind of struggled with for a while. It's like, okay, I'm so super glad to be here in this opportunity. I'm glad to be becoming financially independent. I'm grateful to be moving into this next phase of my life where I'm able to start work and start my life and start to figure out what that means for me and the people that are coming after me. And in that same breath, I was sad a little because I always saw myself going right back into school, you know? And so that's something that I've kind of been dealing with. And also, I'm just talking with some of my friends, same thing, you know? Like, I really want to be in school, or I'm working and I want to be in school, or I'm in school and I want to be making money. And I don't know, I just feel like there's a lot of internal things that we kind of deal with when it comes to transition. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So like I said, y'all drop the questions that y'all have, that y'all need answered in the Dropbox, but we're going to get into these questions. And so guys, the Q&A is sliced up into about 4 sections. We have adulting, We have post-grad, moving, and budgeting is what we're going to talk about today. And then there's like a few miscellaneous questions, but we'll get to those if time permits. So let's get into it. And I want y'all to be interactive too. So, I mean, comment, drop some hearts. Drop some hearts if you are active, okay? Drop some hearts. Let me feel the love. But whatever it is that you guys want to talk about, let's talk about it, you know? Let's get into it. So, first we're going to start with adulting. So the first question was, what does adulting look like for you? And that's a really great question. And to be honest, I'm still really trying to figure out what adulting looks like for me. I remember being young and just thinking like when I turned 18, I was going to be so grown. And I'm turning 23 in about a month and a half. And I still don't necessarily feel grown. But I feel like adulting for me looks like starting your life, getting out of your comfort zone, figuring things out by yourself, like literally not mom, not dad, but you and God. I feel like it's really also, that's another thing, tapping into your spirituality, tapping into, your source. I have gotten so much closer to God in these last 3 months than I probably have in my entire life because I've had to depend on Him and Him solely to get me through, right? And I think that's kind of what adulting is. It's just really figuring things out for yourself. Yeah, I mean, and I think adulting is also independence, right? Because that's what I truly feel right now. Like I'm paying my own bills. I'm getting up every day by myself, working, praying, doing my job, cooking, cleaning, like everything is on me. Paying my bills, you know what I mean? And so I think adulting for me is finding that sense of independence and really sticking to it. So yeah, that's the first question. And you guys drop in the comments, like, what does adulting look like for you? The next question is, under adulting, is what's the best advice that you have on adulting? And honestly, the best advice that I would say that I have when it comes to just adulting is really just to, and I always say this, but push yourself and get out of your comfort zone. I mean, there's nothing about adulting that is comfortable. There's just so many things I feel like that come up that you just are forced to figure out by yourself and on your own. And that's kind of, I guess, the best advice I have about adulting is committing to yourself and committing to figuring it out and committing to everything not necessarily going according to your plan, but submitting to the plan that God has for you. And seeing that through. So I think that's kind of what, I guess, my best advice on adulting is. I mean, there's no rule book to it because everybody's situation is different. Everybody's in a different phase of their life. I'm giving you guys the real based off of my current situation. But, it just depends. And then the next question, there was one more question under this area. And it was kind of around self-discipline, having a schedule, staying on task. And kind of like what that looks like for me when it comes to adulting. And I think that was really powerful because it is so important to have self-discipline during this time, to have a schedule, to stay on task. At this point in our lives, and I'm talking to my recent graduates, my rising seniors, anybody in a period of transition, at this point in our lives, we cannot afford not to have a plan, right? And I'm not saying you have to know, because I'm young, right? I don't know what I want to do per se. I know what experiences I want to have, right? I don't know what title that looks like or the specifics of it all, but I do know what experiences I want to have. And I know in order for me to do that, I'm going to have some type of plan. We are too old to be wandering through life aimlessly. We have to have a plan. And that's some of the best advice that I can give around that is wake up every day with a sense of urgency. Wake up with every day like you have something to do to get you to the next point in your life. And wake up every day, like I said, with some type of plan. It is not okay for us to just be wandering through life aimlessly. Have a to-do list. Have a schedule. Scratch stuff off as you go throughout the day. It'll make you feel so much better, but we can't afford to just go with the wind and be moved by the wind. Being moved by the wind is not, it's not necessarily something that I would say that you want to do, right? You want to have some type of structure to your life. You want to have some type of plan. You want to be putting the things that you see for yourself to the forefront and right in front of you and move with it. And with that comes a plan. So a lot of people, if you want to be productive, people that happen to be productive in this world are people that have some type of plan, some type of list, some type of schedule. So figure out what that is for you and go by it. Every morning, I wake up, I do my devotional, and then after that, I'm figuring out, okay, what is it I have to do today? And it's probably already been planned out. I plan things out a month in advance, honestly, tentatively. And then every week, I fill it in to the best of my ability. And every day, I'm scratching off, okay, this is what I had to do today. This is what I had to do today. This is what I need to add. I need to go to the grocery store. I need to take some time for a nap and for self-care. I need to do this assignment. I need to make sure I get this in for my boss. Like, whatever it is for you that you need to do to be successful, make sure you get it done and that you don't hold off on it. So I think having that self-discipline and creating some type of schedule, some type of cadence in your life is very important. So those are the questions on adulting. And like I said, if you have more questions, I see a few questions coming in the question tool. Please drop them and we'll get into them. So next, we are into post-grad. So like I told you guys, I've just transitioned from undergraduate to being a young adult in my career. And so yeah, here's some of the questions around that. And if you have any questions, like I said, feel free to drop them. So the first question is, how did you ever get post-grad depression and how do you deal with it? And I think that is a very great question, and actually that is a question that I got several times. So I know that obviously it's something that several of us are dealing with, but also something that's very real, right? And I'll be the first to tell you, did I ever get post-grad depression? Yes. And I would say that it's actually in spurts, right? Post-grad depression is very real, and honestly, like, a lot of us I know, especially a lot of us growing up in Black households, we grow up in, depression or mental health is something that kind of was like strayed away, like something that we didn't really touch too much on. But, of course in school and in this new era, I guess, it's being more accepted, more talked about, and we're able to really figure out, kind of identify those things, which I feel is really good. But yes, I talked to you guys a little bit about earlier, like I had a huge, I was struggling with the fact that I am not in school right now, right? And in the middle of a blessing of being able to move and travel and go and do all these great things and start my career, I was still very upset or just struggling with the fact that I'm not in school. And so that was something that I struggled with. And in talking with some of my friends, I have friends that are in school that are struggling with the fact that, they're not working, right? They didn't have a job post-grad. And I feel like a lot of times we want things or we struggle with things that we don't have, instead of really just focusing on where we are and finding the blessing in all of that. So yes, post-grad depression is real. And I think it's also just another thing that I feel like, and I really want to get into, is when you're transitioning from college, we get built up at our institutions to prepare us to be industry professionals, and which is great and rightfully so. And I think some of us come out with this mindset that we're supposed to be making this amount of money. We're supposed to be making 6 figures. We're supposed to be doing this. We're supposed to be running a thing. We're supposed to be managing some stuff. And the reality is, y'all, like when you graduate, 9 times out of 10, I'm not saying you started from the bottom because, of course, you have an education. But you have to start somewhere. There's a lot that you don't know, and a lot to learn, and a lot of growth to happen, right? And I think that is a reality check as well, because I was the first one like, okay, I'm about to be coming out, I'm about to be making 6 figures, like 100K me, baby, and we about to, you know what I'm saying, we about to make some shape. And the reality of it is, you know, you have to start somewhere. There's so much for you to learn. There's people for you to learn from, so much networking to happen. And that's just the reality of it all. But one thing I wanted to say is, I think sometimes we get depressed about the fact, like, okay, you know, this is reality, right? But also, in that same breath, just because you may not be making 6 figures at your job does not mean that you can't have a 6-figure year. And let me say that again. Just because you're not making 6 figures at your job doesn't mean that you can't have a 6-figure year. And that's something that I have definitely, you know, kind of figured out in my own life. You know, I determined, like, okay, I'm not making 6 figures at my job, but I will make 6 figures this year. And figuring out kind of like what your hustle is, right? And I say that to say, you know, keep in mind, don't lose focus and don't lose vision and sight of the things that you're passionate about, because those are the things that are going to get you through some of that post-grad depression. Those are the things that are going to kind of keep you up. For me, Braxton Simpson Enterprises, for you guys that don't know, my business, go visit braxtonsimpson.com, is what kind of keeps me going. Helping take people from passion to purpose in their brands and their businesses every day is what helps me and continuously moves me, and helps me to get up every morning, right? And so I've determined that my 6 figures is going to be coming in a different way, but I'm going to strive to get it, and it just may not be at my job, right? But it'll happen between my business and work. Okay, guys, I'm not sure what happened, but we are back. Looks like we lost a little bit of sound, but we're back, and I am so glad. Okay, so you guys, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, and we are going to keep it going. Okay, great. All right, guys, so I'll just chop it up and like edit so that you guys can make sure that you guys get all of that. But just kind of going back, let me see, where was I? So how do I feel about transitioning from a college student to living straight on my own and being in my career? Honestly, guys, it was a transition, right? It was a huge transition, but I will say that my internships really prepared me for that. You know, every year I traveled every summer, and I left home, and I think that really made the difference for me personally. One summer I was literally in Iowa. Another summer I was in Nebraska. Another one in St. Louis. And so I was getting away from home. I was getting away from Tennessee State University. And quite honestly, I, you know, was on my own. I was one of the only people that looked like me, being both, you know, a woman of color and a woman in general. And it was a lot. It was hard. It was difficult. But I feel like I got all of those jitters and all of that homesickness and all that stuff out of the way early on. And so when it was time for me to actually move and make this big move to North Carolina more permanently, I was able to do it. And I was able to do it well because I wasn't scared, right? And that goes back to getting outside of your comfort zone. You grow when you get outside of your comfort zone. And so for me, the transition, I won't say that it was easy, and it hasn't been easy, and it's been a lot, and I've been learning a lot, but I will say it wasn't as hard as it could have been because I challenged myself early on. And so anybody that's watching, whether you're in college right now, you're getting ready to go to college, you just left college, you're in your 30s and you're just looking for a shift, get out of your comfort zone. You grow outside of your comfort zone. Move while you're young. Travel. Honestly, I am not opposed to going anywhere. Of course, there are some places that I'd rather be over others, just like anybody. But I'm not afraid to move, and I'm not afraid to leave. And I think that really made the difference in kind of, transitioning and starting my career. Now, as far as the career part goes, it's been different. It's different from school, a lot different. Doing projects, every day. My job is pretty project based, right? And so, I'm working a real big girl job now. And so it is different from school, but I will say that my internship experience, my career industry experience, my education prepared me to walk into this opportunity and to be prepared to do a great job. And so I'm excited and grateful about that. So the next question about post-grad was, how can I find a job in my field? And that just kind of goes back to what I was saying. You want to really engage in internships early on. And even if you have to do an internship after college, do what you have to do to get some type of industry experience. That is really what paved the way for me. Doing internships early on set me up to where I had full-time offers at the beginning of my senior year of college. So it was great because for pretty much the entire senior year, I'm not saying I could chill, but I didn't have the stress of not knowing, that I had an opportunity to go into my career post-graduation. Like, I knew that in September. So this time last year, I knew that I had a job. And so that was great. So at that point, it was kind of figuring out, okay, is this the job that I want to have? Do I want to do some more interviewing? Do I want to try out other companies? And at that point, you can kind of leverage your offer, negotiate. You can get into all of those things by setting yourself up to do that. But if you're not necessarily in that place right now, my best advice for you is to just find, once again, those experiences that you want to have. Make those experiences and be okay just volunteering to do them so that you can get that experience. And first, figure out that's what you want to do. And then two, moving in that direction. All right. So how have I been handling post-grad? I've been handling it, I would say I'm handling it pretty okay. As good as to be expected. Just working on it. Constantly taking things day by day. Figuring out the things that I like, the things that I don't like. Really figuring out how to navigate my own space. This is my first time really living on my own for an extended period of time. And so that's taking some getting used to. Of course, like paying bills and budgeting and like finding a balance between social life and all types of things. So yeah, I mean it's new, right? It's new, but I think I've been handling it pretty well. So it's one of those things you just got to take day by day. So, in what ways do you practice prioritization in life after graduation? I honestly feel like after graduation, you really have to prioritize your future, right? And I think that's been the biggest thing for me is figuring out how to prioritize the experiences that I want to have later on. Not only just the experiences that I want to have later on, but the experiences that I want to have now. And then also prioritizing like just simply like my well-being, right? Like there's certain things that just have to get done. So it's no longer just kind of like moving, I guess, with the wind. You have to move out of like necessity, right? And so I feel like that's kind of like been a big thing for me. Like, I don't know. I have to prioritize, first of all, like myself. So, I mean, things that I need for my house, things that I need every day, basic needs like groceries and gas and I don't know, like paying my bills. I gotta make sure the lights stay on, you know what I mean? Like, those things are a priority for me before a lot of other things. And so just kind of like prioritizing my basic needs, my basic necessities before like fun. So I feel like that's like a real adult thing. I don't know. And I also feel like the things I get excited about these days are a little bit kind of funny to see. I don't know. And also I would say that things start to come really full circle too once you're on your own. Like, I remember my mom and dad like telling us growing up, like, put the food up or take the food out or whatever. And us just like not doing right. And now I just kind of see like, wow, if I wasted my own money like that, I would be so mad. And so I don't know, some of those things and some of those lessons are starting to come full circle. So just to continue, so big lessons. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of like post-grad, I guess. I feel like all these questions are pretty similar. So we'll get into moving. Now, moving, that's a question that a lot of you guys had. So the first question around moving was, how was it moving away from your friends and family? Did you get homesick now that you moved away and are an adult? Were you afraid? And yes, Oral. But honestly, I was never afraid to move. And I think I kind of hit on that a little bit earlier because I've had so many experiences where I've moved, and the moves that I've made have been pretty drastically different from my everyday life. So this current move is a little bit more my speed. I mean, I'm in Raleigh, so it's not Atlanta, but I mean, I was in Nashville for 4 years, and it's pretty similar pace that up here, so it's not bad. Yeah, so it wasn't hard to move away. Do I get homesick? I honestly would say that I was a little bit more homesick my freshman year of college. Like, I remember because my brother was still at home and my little sister, of course, and I felt like they would always be doing stuff. But like now, like my brother, she's in college, and you know, I don't know. I don't necessarily say I get super homesick. Every once in a while I do want to kind of like pick up and go home, but I feel like that's also kind of the beauty in like adulting and prioritization. Like, sometimes you just can't pick up and go home. You got to stay here and handle what's going on at the crib. So yeah, that's that. So things to consider when moving around like transportation, surrounding area, future opportunities. The best thing I can say around things to consider when moving is so much, okay, y'all? So let me just tell y'all about my moving experience. So I found out I was coming to North Carolina in April. Keep in mind, I moved in at the end of May. So it was a lot. So first of all, I moved because of my job. So that was the first priority for me, was okay, work is number one. So I need to be somewhere that is close to my job. And so that was like probably my number one thing, is like I need to be close to work. So that was one thing. Second was like cost. And honestly, like rent, y'all, is not nothing to play with. Like, it is really not nothing to play with. I had this idea in my head, like, I'm about to try to like save as much money as I can. I'm gonna try to live below my means as possible right now. And I was like, I'm gonna try to like get an apartment for like $900. No, not even possible. Not out here. So, price is like another thing. You have to figure out like, okay, how much are you making? And can you afford to live where you want to live, and like finding a place within your means that you can consistently pay and not have any problems. So that's another big thing. Kind of going back to that budgeting aspect. Also, like transportation, like will you have a car to get where you need to go? Are you going to a big city? Will you be taking public transportation? Like figuring out kind of like how you're going to move about. I mean, I'm out here in North Carolina. I haven't really seen too much like public transportation in the first place. So like driving was pretty much the only option for me, driving or Ubering. So that's that. And then also like future opportunities, as far as that, you know, plays out. Like what are the things that, and also like social life too. Like, okay, for me it was like, okay, Like how many AKA chapters are out here? Like I need to find me a chapter when I'm out here. You know, what can I be involved in? What is the, and then also it's like, okay, let's be real. Like, you know, I'm young, I'm single, I'm, you know, out here, and I'm, you know, like I'm fresh out here. So it's like I want to have a nice social life too. And so it's like, okay, what is the social life looking out here? What is the young people life looking out here? And that was another deciding factor for me and where I live, because like I'm around a college town. There's a lot of young professionals out here, people that have recently graduated. There's a lot of people out here that are, you know, in their 20s in a very similar place as me right now, whether they're in school or in their careers. And so that was important for me too, because I want to be able to find people to network with. I don't want to be out here just by myself. And so that helped. And then of course, two of my good friends live in the area as well, so that made it a little bit easier to choose where I live. And so, yeah, like moving, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of things to consider. Oh, and like stuff that's around here too, like groceries and all that. But y'all already know that. Okay, so how do you adapt or interact in a new environment? What has been the biggest transition in moving to a different city on your own? Honestly, guys, when you have an opportunity, and when, I feel like when God places something on your heart, you have no choice but to go, but to move, but to act. And so, inevitably, you have to find a way to adapt as well. And so, I feel like I've been adapting pretty well. It is different. It's not Atlanta. It's not Nashville. I feel like every city is its own. And I'm still really trying to figure it out. I mean, I've only been out here for 3 months. But, you know, you just have to kind of figure it out. I feel like the biggest transition for me has probably been... The biggest transition, wow. I don't know, there's like, I feel like there's a lot of things. Like, I feel like I can't really find like the food I really like. Not that the food's not good, but it's just not like banging. I don't know. I feel like the biggest transition hasn't even necessarily been around moving. I feel like the biggest transition has been just kind of like figuring out how to live life by myself. Because regardless of where you are, whether you're at home in a new area or just starting a new job or whatever the case may be, when something's not familiar to you, it takes some adapting and adjusting. So I feel like that's been the biggest thing. So what were some non-negotiables when it came to your apartment? I really love this question because it is so, you know, something you want to take into consideration. So honestly, for me, I wasn't like gung-ho about like needing every little like amenity, because one of my biggest goals, and we'll get into that when we get to budgeting, was to save my money and to get to a point where I could start working towards financial freedom. And so honestly, non-negotiables for me was I wanted a washer and a dryer. Like I did the whole thing in undergrad with tracking, like hauling my laundry basket to the washroom in the rain and waiting for the rain to stop to bring it back. Like I didn't want to do that again. So that was a non-negotiable for me. A non-negotiable was having a washer and dryer. You know, 1 bedroom was fine. I did honestly want a little space to kind of like do my business and stuff, but that honestly just didn't really, like, was not in my budget, to be completely honest. I wanted nice appliances that I could work with. I wanted space, and I just wanted a nice size closet, because anybody that knows me knows I have way too much clothes. So that was pretty much like my non-negotiables, and I was able to get those things. But yeah, the washer and dryer was like key. Nice appliances, nice size closet. Everything else I feel like I could work with. So yeah, those were the non-negotiables for me. And then of course, like the rent needs to make sense. The community needs to make sense. Like, you know, being in a place that you feel safe. Being in a community where you feel, you know, appreciated. Like I feel like my community and the community that I live in, you know, it's pretty cool, it's pretty chill. People are really nice. You know, we got the, you know, valet trash is nice. You know, nice pool, and I don't know, like workout area, like all those things that kind of come with it. Also just kind of help with the decision. Okay, so great question. So how has it been making friends in a new city? And that is a great question. So I will honestly say, guys, networking. I networked all of college, and that really aided in my success as far as meeting, interacting, and networking with people when I got to the Raleigh-Durham area. So honestly, you know, I have to do my plug for HBCUs because that HBCU connection is like this. So it's been great. I mean, I have friends that went to NCAD and Winston-Salem and NCCU and St. Augustine and like all these HBCUs in this area. Bennett College, can't forget Bennett. So that kind of helped. I was able to like interact, and I've been able to interact with them, even though, because I interact with them more virtually because we weren't in the same place, but now I can interact with them, you know, more intimately. So that's been great. And then also, yeah, that's pretty much it. And then I don't know, just friends that I've had. I had a few friends in North Carolina. Fun fact, before going to TSU, I was almost going to NCAT, so I made a lot of friends up there. So, I don't know, it's kind of been good, but that's kind of like how my friend base has started, and it's been expanding from there. You know, friends know friends, and people know people, and networking. And so, that's been great. I feel like I started off in a perfect place post-grad. You know, just interacting with people that live here. And then I have friends also that have moved to the area. I know Charlotte in the Raleigh-Durham area is really hot right now. So a lot of students post-grad are moving here. And so it's been cool to just kind of see like, hey, like you're moving up here too. Like, okay, we gotta connect. We're both new to the city. So just be open to connecting with people that may have a similar background from you as you, and something that you can kind of relate to, and networking with them when you get a chance. Okay, so great. So favorite thing about the move so far, I will say 10 out of 10. The best thing about the move so far has been my friends. Honestly, like shout out to Q, shout out to Ashley. I've been so grateful to have them with me along this journey so far. You know, they're out here, and it's just been great to have friends that I can count on, that I can rely on, that I feel like are going through this with me right out of school. So I'm really grateful for that. So that's been the best thing about the move, is just feeling like I'm not necessarily by myself. So that's been great. All right, guys, so we're going to move on to the next topic, next subject. So, good budgeting. Budgeting was a big topic. So, somebody asked, good budgeting or saving tips that work for you while having to pay bills now. And so I wrote a couple things down for you guys. So the best tips that I kind of have for like good budgeting, because that's something I recently started. Now I wish I would have started earlier, but it's like desperate times, desperate measures. You got to make stuff shake. You can't just be out here spending aimlessly and recklessly. So the best things that have worked for me is, one, try to go days without spending, right? So like today, I made a goal, like I'm not going to spend no money today so I can work towards financial freedom. So I didn't. Like I literally did not spend any money today. And I know it sounds crazy, but like think about it. Like a lot of us, we spend money every single day. So yeah, like that's something that we just gotta, you know, if you can like kind of eliminate just reckless spending every day, I feel like that really helps. Grocery shopping has also been a big thing for me. So I literally grocery shop. Honestly, I do a big grocery shop like once a month. You know, I bring the meat home, I freeze it like my mama did, and like I really try to like make it shake. And then like 2 weeks from then, I'll probably go back to the grocery store, and I go like every once in a while if I need something here and there. But like I go back to the grocery store probably like 2 weeks later when I get paid again, and like, you know, re-up on some things that I need, some little snacks, some little sides, you know, to go with the meats and whatever I'm cooking. And then I do it again 2 weeks from there. I do another big thing, but I try to grocery shop really like once a month. I guess like more drastically. And then like meal prepping, you know, so I'll like, okay, make my food, lay it out, and have it ready for all my meals. And then have a budget based on your income. That's another thing. Have a budget based on your income. So figure out, okay, how much am I bringing in a month or every 2 weeks or whatever? How much am I bringing in? What are the necessities that I need? Let's list those out. And then out of those necessities, you know, let's also make room for savings. And let's plan for savings. Allow savings to be a part of your budget. And then, okay, now this is what I have left over. Out of what you have left over, what can you add to savings, and what do you really need to live based off of? And I'm not saying like live like horribly, but I am saying like I try to live below my means, so that I can save my money and really kind of work towards the things that I want to. So, and I'll give you guys an example. You know, this month, one of my biggest goals was to pay off my car. I've been working on that for a while, and it was kind of hard to like pay it off in college because I really wasn't like working consistently. But I've been able to pay off my car, and I've only been out here for a few months. And I was able to do that because I lived below my means. So I'm like, okay, so out of the money that I have left over, how much can I 100%, like, what do I really need to live off of? Like, if I only need this to live off of, maybe a couple, you know, things here and there, and I can put the rest over here. That's kind of like what set it up, you know? So have a goal, and try to, like, live below your means. Like, you don't have to do every little thing. Little sacrifice. But still have fun. And yeah, just plan ahead, have goals to eliminate debt. My next goal is to help like start paying off my student loans. And so yeah, that's what I really want to do. So just gotta plan ahead. So how did you budget before you moved, and how can I set and maintain a healthy budget? Like I said, the things I just said, but also give yourself some wiggle room. Be willing to sacrifice a little, and you'll be remember this, you'll be making the most money that you have ever made once you start your career. 9 times out of 10, this is the most money you've ever made. And so you have 2 options. You look at that like, this is the most money I've ever made. I'm going to go blow it. I'm going to go turn up. I'm going to brunch every weekend. I'm going to do this, that, and the third. Or you look at it like, I'm making the most money I've ever made. Now I can like really do things that I've never done before and save towards things that I've never had, that I can have and start creating a legacy for myself and my family. And so that's just how I choose to look at things, and it's been great. And then another question was kind of like how to create a budget. Like I said, just some line items. You know, for me, it's like groceries. If I need to go home, like flights, you know, credit, building my credit. So like credit is a line item, savings, rent, utilities, I don't know, like the power bill or whatever, the electric bill. Like, have line items for everything that you pay every single month. And then I just mark it off, like paid, hasn't paid yet, I put this much in my savings. Like, I try to be detailed with it, and I just keep it in my little Google files. Okay. So yeah, and then you can just do every month kind of based off of that. You can kind of create a skeleton at the beginning of the month, like, okay, you know, this is what this month should look like, and this is how much money I should be bringing back after all of those are accounted for. Yes, and that's great that you said that, Soldier. Soldier said, I would recommend taking the money out from the start. And yes, that is a great point. Like when I tell y'all, as soon as I get paid, like I get paid on the last day or the first day of the month or whatever, I already know, like rent's due, all this stuff is due. So I am taking all the money out. Like I know how much my budget is already set, so I'm taking out all the money that I need and paying the bills off rip. So now everything that I'm working with is money that's either gonna go to savings or gonna be dispensable for me to kind of work with. But out of mind, out of sight is how I think about it. If it's sitting in there, I might just use it. So I'm just gonna get it out my hands. So some miscellaneous questions. What year of college did you start looking into internships to be able to pursue your career? I will say that I started looking into internships honestly at the beginning of my freshman year. So you need to start now. Start now. And I know it's easier said than done. But y'all, when I tell you that is the best advice that I can give you, and I'm telling you that because this is where I'm at now. And it's worked for me. And the people that I've seen that kind of adopted that same mentality, I've seen that it's working for them. I have a full-time job. That was the goal, to be an industry professional. Like, it used to be a dream to say that I would be a woman in STEM, and now I'm a woman in STEM, doing STEM-related work every day. And so, speak it and make it reality for yourself. It's very attainable for you. Get into that career development center. Get on LinkedIn. Make you a LinkedIn if you don't have one. And really get in there and handle your business. But have an internship, as many as you can. I had 4 in college. And I had research. If you count research opportunities, I really had like 7. But every summer I was away. My senior year, my last semester, I interned at the Capitol, did a political internship, and like I said, did research during the semesters, every semester, while I was in college, except my first semester and my last semester of college. So, hey, put yourself out there. Get yourself out there, get yourself some experience, because ultimately what you want to do is build up a resume, build up a track record that you can speak to, because you know, I feel like that's kind of what sets you apart when you're looking at candidates. And I can tell you that I've had 4, 5, and 6 experiences in the field of agriculture prior to graduation. Of course, that's going to set me apart from somebody that hasn't had any experiences, industry experience, right? Outside of the classroom experience. And there's things that happen during those experiences that are bigger than the job title itself as an intern, that prepare you, that allow companies to know that you can do it. The fact that you're willing to move, that you moved all these times, that you try different things, that you work in different facets, really will set you apart. But you have to start now. So that's my recommendation, to start now. If you need help with that, visit me at braxtonsimpson.com, set up a consultation, we'll work through it. Resume writing, LinkedIn profile, internships, whatever it is that you need, we'll take you from passion to purpose. All right, so what things do you feel you could have done in college to prepare you a little bit more? So yeah, budgeting was one of them, and then again, understanding that you have to start somewhere. And like I mentioned earlier, you have to start somewhere. Don't think that just because you come out of school, that you're going to be just making like 6 figures. You're going to be doing all this. You're going to be doing that. And you're going to be the top dog. You have to still work for it. You still have to work through it. And like I said earlier, just because your job may not be paying you 6 figures out the gate doesn't mean you can't get there, and it also doesn't mean that you can't have a 6-figure year. You can still dive into your passions, to the things that make you happy, in developing your own personal brand and business, and still have a 6-figure year. Your 6 figures may come in a different way, in a different realm, and so figure out what that is for you. And that's also a way that you can help maintain your mental health too, is by focusing on the things that make you happy. So as far as things I feel like I could have done to prepare me a little bit more for college, is really just realizing that. And that's something that I'm figuring out now. And then the last question, best way to deal with being comfortable outside of your comfort zone. The best way to deal with that, honestly, guys, is just to do it. Just get out there. Just push yourself. Every time you start feeling a little resistance in your chest, that means you're going in the right direction. When you start feeling like, I know I should do it, but it's a little scary. But it's also like, what happens if you do it? What happens if you actually do win? What happens if things actually do go in the right direction, which they will. They may be a little hard, might be a little scary, might feel a little lonely, but I promise you, there are benefits on the other side. So with that, I just want to thank you guys for joining my live. This was a dream. It was a dream. I absolutely enjoyed it. Love this opportunity to talk with you guys and to talk to you guys a little bit about just, I don't know, like just about college life. I don't know, not college life, but post-grad life, guys. It's real. It's real, and it's not always easy, but it's just a part of life, the transition. And so with that, I'm gonna go ahead and end it. For you guys that are coming in late, we did have a little technical difficulties on the front end. The sound kind of went out. So what I'll do is I will edit this video and post it for you guys to see. Or maybe I'll just post this video and post some snippets from the first one. I don't know. I need to decide really quick. Maybe you guys help me right now. For you guys in here, tell me what I should do. Should I post this live right now? Or should I edit them and mash them together? Let me know in the comments. And that's what I'm going to do. Because if not, I'm going to have a hard time deciding in a second. But yes, I'm so glad that you guys enjoyed it. Hello. Hey, Denise. Hey. Okay. Edit and mash. Okay, we got to edit and mash. All right, y'all. So that's what we'll do. So yeah, if you tuned into this live today, I just wanted to thank you guys. This was great. I also wanted to tell you guys to go visit BraxtonSimpson.com. Yes, that's where we're going from, like, passion to purpose, okay? We're going from passion to purpose, and each and every day, and I'm helping protect people there. So yeah, I want to help you guys with your brands. If you're struggling with like getting your LinkedIn together, with getting your resume together, with figuring out just how to present yourself and kind of get yourself to the next phase, that's what I'm here for. That's what my business focuses on, and it focuses on young women, young men, just like yourselves that are in this period of transition. I'm going through it with y'all, so I feel like we're experts at our own situations, and so that's what I want to help you guys with. So with that being said, I love you guys. Love you so much. Thank you for joining my internet family. I will edit and mash and get this up for y'all. So appreciate it. Love y'all. Bye.